We are in Denora, Pennsylvania, hometown of James Howard, and where his mother lived in Cement City. This is in the corner of Ida and Walnut Street. Just to give you a flavor, these houses were built out of cement because wood was unavailable. And right here in the corner was a triplex. And this particular one, 102, is the one where Jim was born. And they're reliving her youth.
That I remember so well. And there's my handsome personal photographer.
Okay, what are we looking at? Where are we?
Looking at 102 Ida Avenue, Granddad and Grandma O.C. and Francis Howard house. And they lived in that side of the house. It's a triplex. And the right side was an up and down with 3 bedrooms upstairs and the living room, dining room, kitchen on the main floor. And the upper left was a 1-bedroom apartment and another 1-bedroom apartment downstairs on the left. And what seems to be missing is my grandmother's kitchen door, because we would come out of the house to where roses were growing, and this backyard was just a beautiful garden. And I just remember tons of climbing roses that when you opened the door, it was a mixed blessing. There was the fragrance of these beautiful roses, which was alluring and would call you to them. And then there were always a hum of bees. So you had to be careful you didn't get stung when you went out the kitchen door to the great gardens below. And to me, it was so exotic to have an alley in your backyard. I mean, how cool is this? So we'd come through and then come down, and there was no garage or anything, with this cool alley. It's a street where it didn't get much traffic. And it just seemed like it was just so exotic and cosmopolitan and sophisticated. And I never knew any of the tenants who lived on the other side. But I remember vividly the floor plan. It was a side hall, colonial. And the bookcases on either side of the fireplace, and one of the bookcases had that crystal globe that had I think my uncle or great uncle or my great grandfather's initials in it from when he retired from the steel mill or something. So it's a hoot to be standing here today, but I'm just vividly missing all the roses. She had tons of roses. That's all I can remember.
And what years were these?
Well, I have fond memories because I would go every summer. It was truly a highlight, and I was very lucky I got to do this. Linda, Diane, and myself would rotate, and we would spend 3 weeks. Must have been long, horrible, painful weeks for Linda and Diane, but to me it was nirvana to be with these cool teenagers for 3 weeks, because they had a cool quotient that was on the ozone layer, and I was just a pimply-faced, buck-teeth kid. And we would spend a week in Conneaut Lake. Linda and Diane would spend a week with us. And we'd spend a week with Grandma Howard, and we'd spend a week at Linda and Diane's house. And I'm sure by the time we got to Linda and Diane's, they'd had a belly full of lugging me around. But I was just so nervous being with them that I would laugh all the time, nervous laughter, which I'm sure got on their nerves too. But it was the fastest 3 weeks of my life, and we come to very exotic, sophisticated destinations like Cement City in Denora. And in fact, Linda and I were talking about it at the funeral. One of the other very wonderful features of this house was the mystery basement, and there was a long, scary staircase into this dark basement that was pin whistle clean, but it had lots of rooms, and they were big and dark, and each room had a different personality. And it was the darkness down there that made this particularly scary. And Linda remembers Honey, the dog, being closed off in a room. And actually, it didn't strike me. When she mentioned that, I remember thinking that didn't strike me as odd, because Honey always lived in a dark room in the basement. And there was a furnace room, and there were furnace room and a laundry room with a wringer washer. And it was all very clean, tidy, and dry, but mysterious and spooky. And it was an adventure. You had to be quite daring to go down there and spend any time. Also, like a little library office kind of room. Maybe you'd put a pool table in today, but semi-civilized. That was the bathroom. 2 bedrooms. Oh, this is great. We'll go in the front. I think Osa kept his car in one of those. Tiny. These steeps were huge. Steps were hugely steep.
Hmm.
This is the front door. I remember the huge canopy of shady trees because we were here in the summer. It was always hot. There was always this coolness from these huge shade trees. You come down. You could hear the rain on this roof. There's no roof when it rained. And we'd come down here and scoot around the corner. Of course, I remember this front lawn as being gigantic. And we'd go down the hill to Minnie's and we'd buy penny candy at Minnie's corner store. And she was sort of a gruff old lady, but I was with Linda and Diane, so I wasn't quite so scared of her. She was one of those white-haired ladies, sat there crotchety and old, couldn't walk very well, skinny, long dress, and hair, you know, chin, and always wondered what we kids were doing in there. But Linda and Diane protected me from Minnie. And we'd buy her penny candy, and then sometimes we'd walk up to Linda and Diane had another aunt or uncle or grandma right up the street here, and she was very nice to me when we went there. And that was fun, but it seems like it was miles away from here, and it's probably a stone's throw. Oh. Cool. Look how big it's about 4 steps across. Let's say it's a hoot. It's a hoot to be here. World War II Memorial, I had no idea that the memorial was here, that Dad's name is on it, and it says there about the 12th name down, Howard James O. for World War II. Cool. There's only one James O. He's right in the center stage of this whole thing. Pretty cool. Lest we forget. I gotta call my mother and tell her this one.
World War II Memorial.
Did you find Harrison? Let's see. That's for Irvin. Oh my gosh, and Irv Harrison is on the wall too. Irvin Harrison. Front row center. Irv Harrison right in the middle. Fantastic. What a thrill. Got to call my mother and let her know this hot news.
Right across from the War Memorial. It's the plaque for Cement City, which is where O.C. lived.